network design with open source software and white box switch. What is this video about? Today, most of the network device vendors like Cisco, Juniper, Arista has their proprietary software which runs on their proprietary hardware. For example, Cisco's iOS, Juniper's Junos, and Arista's EOS. Using these network devices in today's highly changing network designs create a problem for network engineers, as it gets really difficult for network engineers to write automation scripts which can run on all the different network devices. Therefore, automation of operations such as provisioning, upgrading, and monitoring becomes difficult. On the other hand, if we use open source software and white box switches, we can overcome some of these problems. Today, we will look at the advantages and disadvantages of using such open source software and network design approach. Advantages. First, with vendor network devices, most of the time, network engineer gets caught into the vendor locking scenarios. For example, if we use a vendor specific protocols or solutions while scaling the network design, network engineer has to use the same vendor devices. This is called vendor locking. With white box switches and open source software, vendor locking issue can be easily addressed. Second, with open source software, network engineer has access to source code of the software. Therefore, network engineer can easily program and customize the software as per the need. This makes the network design more flexible and scalable. Third, as most of the open source software is free to use, this usually reduces the cost of the network. Fourth, the well-known problem for network engineer is to remember different complex command lines and syntax of network device configuration for different vendors. With open source software, we can use XML or JSON to make the network configurations and monitoring data more unified over all the network devices. Fifth, with open source software, network engineer can utilize the advantages of systems like Chef to make network devices more scalable. By adding custom logic into the open source software, network engineer can make the network more flexible and scalable. Disadvantages. One of the major barriers for using open source software on white box switches is scarcity of network engineers who knows programming and open source software. New networking courses at universities are teaching networking students programming and open source software skills. Also, most of the network engineers have identified this trend and learning these useful skills by their own. But still, for now, this can be a major concern. The second thing which might deter companies to follow this networking design is to find support for their customized networking design or customized networking open source software. I personally think that as more and more companies will start using this approach, community of the open source software will increase and this issue will be addressed. Today, there are some companies which are providing paid support for open source softwares, and the companies which have this concern can look into such solutions. I hope in future we will see more and more network engineers using open source software with white box switches. Thank you for watching this video. If you think of more advantages or disadvantages, please let me know in the comments below. Bye.